Okay, in this module, what I'm going to be covering with you is some very specific word-for-word things that you can say in the closing process to get people started. Now, I have used every one of these. Some I use a lot more than others, and I'm going to give you a lot. Not that you need to necessarily memorize all of these. What I want you to do is I want you to just listen through this whole thing, and I want you to pick out a few that you feel like really fit your personality. Now, one of the things that I think is true, there's an art and science to closing. There's an art and science to being successful in life. And so I have committed all these to memory. These are all things that I've said multiple times. I've used every one of these a bunch. But in some cases, I may use a different close, a different phrase on a different person, because if I see that they're a really aggressive bottom line type personality, I might close them differently than I would someone who's really analytical. If someone, is all about saving the world, I'm going to say something a little different than someone who really loves to party. In fact, I'll do a module on the different personality styles and how you close the different personality styles. So you can stay tuned for that in another module. But so pick a few that fit your personality that you get comfortable with, commit them to memory, say them a bunch of times in your head before you actually go out and use them in public, and then, make them your own. Don't get tied up in feeling like you have to use the exact same words that I say. You can modify the words a little bit, obviously to make it your personality, but I'm going to give you some stuff that flat out works. Now, the first one is the one that again, people think I'm crazy. Like, they have a hard time even believing that I do this, and I'm telling you, it works like crazy. Now, I do this if it is usually a hotel type event where there's a lot of people. Maybe there's 100, 200 people. There's been, a presenter. When the meeting is over, music should always play. Quick tip on leadership: you should always have music at the end of your meeting, that emotional, upbeat music. The music creates emotion. It helps people actually make a buying decision. And so the presentation's over, meeting's over. I go to my person, I turn to them, and this is super sophisticated, and I do a high five. I say, "You're in, right?" "You're in, right?" And I do 2 nods. "You're in, right?" Just a slight little subtle nod to your head. "You're in, right?" And give them a high five. And so what happens, again, presentation's over. They just heard a lot of information. They're not sure how to feel. What I'm doing is I'm coming to them with all this positive emotion, this positive energy. I'm not shouting it, by the way, but I'm just saying it with enthusiasm and excitement. I'm giving a high five. Now, people like to give high fives. It's kind of rude not to give a high five back. And I just do, "You're in, right?" And I give them a high five. I do the slight little nod. That's a hypnotic, selling point that, when you nod, people tend to want to nod as well. And a nod indicates a yes. So, "You're in, right?" And I do the high five. Well, it's almost a buzzkill for them to say no. They high five me back, and it is kind of funny when they're not ready to enroll. They give me a high five, and they look me like deer in the headlights and say no, or "I got some questions." And then obviously you go down, you get on their level, and you answer their questions, and then ask them if they have any more questions or they're ready to get started. Okay. So don't underestimate the power of this. One of the reasons why it works so well is because I'm closing early. I'm not wowing them with my brilliance. I'm not reselling the deal. I'm not talking them out of it. Chances are the presenter did an effective job, and my job is just to collect a decision. So, go through that process. So test that out. You don't have to take a whole lot of notes on "you're in, right?" but you can use that. You can also just say, "You in?" You in with a couple nods, give them a high five. Personally, that fits my personality really well. Next one is, are you ready to get started? I know super advanced. I've got a whole team. They're just totally crushing it. When the presentation's over, they just ask, "Are you ready to get started?" The presenter will even do that. If they're doing a 2-on-1 or something like that, a 1-on-1, they go through, a final slide. Here's the bottom line. Here's the price. Here's this. You get this. Are you ready to get started? And they're just collecting a decision. So you can ask, "Are you ready to get started?" Here's one that I like to do. Let's get you started. Okay. Now, whenever someone asks you, as a question and they say, okay, you typically want to say okay back. Let's get you started, okay? And it's kind of a question, but also a command. And I use this one when I've, asked someone, you're ready to get started or you're in right, and they've got a question. And a lot of times I'll do this after they've asked 2 or 3 questions. And they've asked 2 or 3 questions because they're in procrastination mode. They're stalling. And I'm going to answer the question, and then I'll just say, let's get you started, okay? And I'll put out my hand. Now, one of the most powerful things that you can do, I want you to start using this. Do not be hesitant to not do this. It's putting out your hand and closing with a handshake. So a handshake signifies, power. When you just reach your hand out and say, let's get you started, okay? And you put your hand out. Now, when you put your hand out to shake someone's hand, is it considered rude to not shake someone's hand back? Obviously, yes, that's kind of rude not to shake someone's hand. Well, I'm giving you the psychology here, is when you shake hands, what does shaking hands signify? Signifies sealing the deal or closing a deal or the deal is done. And so, you put out your hand, it's kind of rude not to shake it back. They shake your hand, that signifies closing the deal. It's almost as if it's rude for them not to enroll. Psychologically, that's a really powerful way to get people off the fence and get them going. It's, you answer a few questions. Sometimes they just need a little bit of belief. And so, they've given you a couple objections. They've, asked you several questions. And you say, you answer the question and you say, John, listen, with someone as sharp as you, believe me, you can do this. Let's get you plugged in, okay? And put out your hand to shake their hand. See, a lot of the closing process is you leading. You have to get comfortable with leading people. People are used to being led. It feels good for them to follow. And so you have to lead. See, their entire life, they've been led. When they're babies, their parents tell them what to do. When, they go to school, their teachers tell them what to do. When they go to college, their teachers tell them what to do. When they get a job, their bosses tell them what to do. They've been led their entire life. And so a lot of you being a good closer is you just leading them into the process, because people naturally have trouble making decisions for themselves. People are worried about being wrong. It's just one of the things. They don't want to make a wrong decision. And so you as the leader, your job is to reinforce that this is a good decision. Sometimes they just need to hear that it's a good decision. And you can just, something that I've said is before is, someone's on the fence. I'll say, listen, someone with your personality, there is absolutely no reason in the world why someone like you can't be successful with this. When you do this, I will commit to you, it will be one of the best decisions of your life. Let's get you plugged in, okay? And I put my hand out to shake their hand. And that's just, it's me. They can now lean on my leadership. They can lean on my certainty. They can lean on my authority. And if you haven't, gone through my authority report, I believe it's up at lifestylefreedomsystem.com. You can download that authority report, and it just talks about the power of how people are influenced by authority figures. And so show up as an authority. Present yourself as an authority. Now, one of the next ones, things that you can say is, do you have any questions, or are you ready to get started? Do you have any questions, or are you ready to get started? Okay. It's an either or close. Either they have questions or they're ready to get started. And if they have questions, you answer their question and say, do you have any more questions, or are you ready to get started? They have another question. You answer it. When you're done answering the question, you say, great. Do you have any more questions, or are you ready to get started? So you're just leading them, constantly leading them to the process of getting started. You're not saying, do you want to join or not? You're saying, do you have questions, or are you ready to get started? One of the two. Now, after a few questions, again, I get tired of answering the questions. I get a sense that it's them stalling. I'm going to just tell them, hey, listen, someone, with your personality, you are going to rock this thing. Let's get you started, okay? And I put out my hand, okay? It's me leading them. So one of the things that you can also ask before you ask any of these closing questions is, when the presentation's over, you can say, pretty awesome, right? What did you like best? What did you like best? And what that does is it forces them to think about something that they liked about it, okay? So you can use that before. So pretty awesome, right? What'd you like best? They tell you. Great. Are you ready to get started? They tell you what they like best. Great. Let's get you started, okay? They tell you what they liked. You say, great. Do you have any questions? Are you ready to get started? Okay, that's a simple process. Now, one close that you can use if your compensation plan allows for, spillover. If it's a binary or it's a plan where you would put someone underneath someone else. A lot of plans don't have this. In fact, with my company, we actually do have that. I don't use this close a lot. I did in the very beginning when I was enrolling a lot of people. I knew I was going to put in, 20, 30 people pretty fast. I would use this close. It is not something that you should use if you are not planning on enrolling a lot of other people, or at least, 1 or 2 or 3 or more people very quickly. Stay in integrity in the closing process. It will backfire. Number one reason why people quit network marketing is false expectations. They expected something to happen. It didn't happen. And, they end up quitting. And a lot of times in network marketing, we have given ourselves a bad name because they've been promised spillover. Someone's going to be in their downline, they enroll, and then they don't get it, and they feel misled. They're not going to go build a big business. So you think, oh, I'm just going to trick them and get them in. That's not going to work. It's just going to backfire on you. People will end up, saying all kinds of negative things about you. You end up with a really bad reputation. So in any of this, in the closing process, stay in integrity. Here's how the names list close works. When you're getting started, especially when you're getting started, you make a list of 200-300 people that you're showing the business to, and you're showing the business to, your friend Bob. And, presentation's over, you pull out your list and you say, so pretty awesome, right? What'd you like best? And Bob says, oh, I like the way you can earn residual income, or I like the product, whatever it is. And you say, awesome. Well, listen, just to let you know how this works, at least half the people that I enroll after you will end up going on your team because it's a 2-team structure. And so, the very next 3 people I enroll after you are actually going to go on your team. Now, here's the list of people that I'm showing the business to. As you can see, your name is one of the first people. You're one of the first people I'm showing the business to. Now, as I show the business to the other people, I don't know that any of them are going to enroll, but I have a lot of confidence that they will. And some of these people are super, super sharp. They know a ton of people. They're already very successful. And, they could absolutely blow this up in a big way. Now, if you lock in your position now, the people that I enroll after you go on your team. Now, if you wait, the people that I enroll, they go first and you end up going on their team. And instead of you making money off them, they make money off you. Do you want to go ahead and lock in your position at the top? Do you want to go ahead and lock in your position at the top? Okay, so that's something that you can use only if you are absolutely committed to enrolling other people in their group. Now, another strategy that I've used before, it's called shopping the app. Let's say you enroll someone that they fill out a paper application, and you've shown the business to several other people. You can go to the other people that you've shown the business to before you put that application in, and you can say, hey, John, listen, it's Matt. I just showed the business to, Bob. Bob enrolled to have his application here. I'm just giving you a courtesy call because, I showed the business to you first. If you go ahead and enroll right now, I'll go ahead and put Bob in your team, and you'll start out, day one, you'll have someone in your organization. And Bob, I'm telling you, super excited. He may absolutely blow the doors off this. Do you want to go ahead and lock in your position above Bob? So that's called shopping the app. That's something, if it's appropriate with your company, you can use that. Now, if it's not appropriate with your company, listen, there are pros and cons to every compensation plan. I don't get into arguing which plan is better. There's 100 pennies in every dollar. So whatever compensation plan that your company has, it's a good one. If you've got a company that's been around for any length of time, and there's other people that are having success, there's a reason for it. It's because you have a good plan. So don't feel like you need this. In fact, with my company, we do have that. I very rarely use it. I don't want people joining because they're going to get people in their downline. I don't want that to be their motivation. I want their motivation to be that they want to go out and change their life. I want their motivation to be that they want to live their life helping others. I want their motivation to be to go see the world, to make a difference in their family's life, to pay off their debt. I want it to be the right reasons. Okay. So some other things that you can say. Presentation's over, so tell me what you like best. They tell you on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, you have no interest. 10, you're ready to get started right now. Where you at? See, this is one I use a lot. If I can't really get a good feel on someone, the presentation, they didn't seem like they were overly excited, bouncing off the walls. If they seemed really excited, I'm just going to say, you're in, right? I'm just going to assume they're in. But if maybe they seemed like they were really, analyzing things and I can't get a good read, I'll say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you have no interest. 10, you want to get started right now. Where you at? I use this a lot on three-way phone calls. Sometimes it's hard to gauge people's, motivation over the phone. And so I'll ask this question. And if they say they're a 1 or 2, something like this, it's like, well, they pretty much disqualified themselves. I'll say, well, it sounds like this isn't for you. Is there any specific reason? I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to make sure they're not a 1 just because they're going to be a 1 no matter what. That's just what they're going to say. Was there something that just didn't make sense for you? I'm going to feel them out. But that's someone I'm going to probably let go. If someone is a 6, a 7, a 5, I'm going to say, great, what questions can I answer to help move you to a 10? If they say they're a 9 or a 10, I'm just going to go and roll them. See, the mistake that you can make is if someone says they're a 9 or a 10, that basically means they're ready. They're ready to make a decision. Enroll them. They say they're a 10, you go, oh my gosh, that's so cool because, and you start explaining more great benefits and how you're going to travel the world. The only thing you can do at this point is talk them out of enrolling. Just enroll them. Just sign them up, okay? Don't sell yourself out of it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you have no interest. 10, you want to get started right now. They say they're a 7. Great. What question can I answer for you to help move you to a 10? So it's a simple process. You just move them along. You can use the either or close. So presentation's over. You ask them what they like best. They tell you and you say, awesome. Well, did you want to be a customer only or did you want to be a customer and also become a rep and have the ability to make money? So it's an either or close. You're not giving them the option of not enrolling. They're either going to be a customer or they're going to be a customer and a rep as well. Okay. Another question you can answer. Do you see an opportunity here for yourself? Do you see an opportunity for yourself here? So that's a question you can answer. You can ask them. And, you're just collecting a decision. Now, notice, or just be aware when you're asking these questions, say them with a smile, say them with some enthusiasm, be excited. If you're not excited, they're not going to dance to your music. You need to be excited if you want them to be excited as well. Now, you can also say some things, different things based on their personality. Now, if you know them to be maybe a red, an aggressive personality, someone who wants to make a lot of money, red is like a win at all costs kind of person. The reds respond well to challenges. And so what I've asked a lot of reds is I say, well, do you feel like this is something you could be successful with? And a red would never say no to that. They're not going to say they couldn't be successful with something. They're going to say something like, I can be successful with anything. Or they can say yes. And I'd say, great, let's get you plugged in. Do you feel like this is something you could be successful with? They say yes. You say, great, let's get you plugged into the system. Let's get you making money. Are you ready to start making money with us? If someone's very money motivated, hey, you ready to start making money with us? Yes? Okay, great. Let's get you plugged in. Now, not all personalities are money driven like that. Some are very, they want to help other people. So you ready to come join the team? You ready to come join the family? You ready to come join the family? Like, I'm not that kind of personality. It sounds funny me saying it, but if that's their language, I'm going to speak their language. I'm not going to speak my language. They don't understand my language. My language is, I want to make money. I want to win big. That's not their language. You ready to come join the team? You ready to come join the family? If they're analytical, you could ask a question like, you ready to get plugged into the system? You say things like, we've got a proven plan of action. We'll take you by the hand. We'll walk you through every step in the process to make sure you're successful. You ready to get plugged into the system? Okay, that's something I would say to someone who's really analytical. Someone who's really fun-loving, the life of the party. They're a blue. You'd ask them a question like, you ready to come have some fun with us? You ready to come join the party? And, that is going to be appealing to a personality style like that, and, you ask them what they like best. If they like something, it's the fun, man, this looks like it'd be a lot of fun. It is, dude. We are going to have a blast together. You ready to come join the party? You ready to come have some fun with us? And, when you ask a question like, are you ready to come have some fun with us? You're asking them to join, but it sounds weird to say no to that. You ready to come have some fun with us? To say no would just be kind of weird. So it's almost like it sounds weird for them not to join. I hope you're really getting the power of this. Now, I'm going to talk about the two-step close. This is one of my favorites. It's a very assumptive close, and here's how the two-step close works. Step number one is ask them what they like best. So you'd say something like this. Pretty awesome, right? What'd you like best? They tell you what they like best, and you just listen. You're not inserting what you like best, okay? You're speaking their language, okay? You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're listening more than you're talking. What'd you like best? And you hear them out, and you might even say, what else? What else? Get them to tell you what they really liked about it. And then, they tell you a couple things. You say, great, sounds like you're ready to get started. No more complicated than that. Sounds like you're ready to get started. Ask them what they like best. Listen. Sounds like you're ready to get started. Great. Sounds like you're ready to get started. And, it's that assumptive sale. And in many cases, they're just going to say yes. Now, I'm going to give you a 3-step close. That was the 2-step close. Here's the 3-step close. I like this one a lot because it really answers the question, can I do it? So 3-step close goes like this. Step number 1, ask them what they like best. Pretty exciting, right? What'd you like best? Awesome, right? What'd you like best? They tell you. Step number 2, he says, great. Well, I do have to ask you a question to see if you qualify to be successful with us. Okay? I do have to ask you a question to see if you have what it takes to be successful with us, or if you qualify to be successful with us. And, they're going to say, okay, wait for a little answer, have a little pause there. And, you just notice the look on their face. And then step 3 is, do you think you have the ability to push play on a video like I just did with you? And of course, they're going to say yes. And you say, congratulations, welcome to the team. Okay, so a very simple process. You could even do that at a hotel presentation. Hey, pretty awesome, right? What'd you like best? They tell you what they like best. You say, awesome. Well, listen, I do have to ask you a question to see if you can be successful with this. They say, yeah. You say, well, do you think you have the ability to invite someone to see a presentation like I did with you? If you're doing a 2-on-1 over coffee, do you think you have the ability to invite someone to coffee like I did with you? Yeah. Awesome. You qualify. Welcome to the team. Let's get you plugged in. I'll show you how to make your money back in the next week. Okay? So that's the 3-step close. So next, I'm going to give you the daily method of operation close. Now, I actually rarely use this. I used to use it a lot more. It is a really good close. I like going straight in. But this is one that, especially if you're more of an analytical person, you might feel more comfortable using this close. And it's a few different steps. And so step number 1, the video's over, the presentation's over. You say, awesome. Tell me, awesome, right? What did you like best? So step number 1 is, what did you like best? They tell you. Step number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you have no interest, 10, you want to start making money right now. Where are you at? So you're getting a scale of where they're at. Now, if they're a 1 or a 2 or a 3, something like that, you may not continue with the process. Okay, it may end right there. And this is a kind of, letting you know whether to go on or whether not to go on. If they say they're a 2 or 3, you say, oh, well, sounds like this is not for you. Is it just not for you totally, or is there something maybe that I need to answer for you to have you be closer to a 10? Let them disqualify themselves. Now, they say they're a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, something like that. Then I'm going to move on through the process. If they say they're a 9 or a 10, I'm not going to really continue. I'm just going to say, great, sounds like you're ready to get started. Let's get you plugged in. Enroll them. Don't go through the rest of the process if they're ready to enroll. But if they are, an 8, a 7, a 6, a 5, something like that, then I'm going to go through step number 3. Step number 3 is, well, tell me this. How much money would you need to be making on a part-time basis to have this be worth your time? How much money would you need to be making on a part-time basis to have this be worth your time? And you have them tell you. Now, normally it's going to be $500 a month, $300 a month, $700, $1,000 a month, something like this. Because you're saying on a part-time basis. It's, you may get people who They want to go full time and they're going to tell you 5,000 or 10,000, but most people are going to give kind of a lower amount. And this close, by the way, this is consultative selling. This is not you going in for the kill, going in for the close. This is you just, putting a plan in place for them. This works great with someone who's an analytical type personality. If someone's a green, great way to close them. Okay, so they tell you how much. You say, okay, great. $500 a month. Now, how many hours a week would you be willing to commit on a part-time basis to get to that $500 a month? And you're pausing and waiting for an answer. And you let them decide. Sometimes they may ask you, well, how many do I need to? And you say, well, you really would need to put in at least 2 at a bare minimum. Don't feel like you got to put in 20, 30 hours a week, but, just you tell me, what can you commit to on a weekly basis? On a part-time basis, what can you commit to? Get them to give you a number. This is them closing themselves. So they tell you, 3 hours a week, 5 hours a week. You say, okay, great, 5 hours a week, $500 a month. Now tell me this, how many months would you be willing to commit, those 5 hours a week in order to get to that income? And so how long, basically, are they willing to commit? Are they willing to do that for, 1 month, 6 months, a year, 18 months? You're able to really see how committed they are to the process. And they're going to tell you, I'd be willing to give it 6 months. Now, you may have to correct them because, if they tell you I want to make $10,000 a month and I'm only willing to put in 2 hours a week and I'm only willing to do that for 2 months, there's probably not much of a chance that they can get there. And so you're being real and you're being honest with people. Don't lie to people and make them think they can make $10,000 a month working 1 hour a week and do that in 2 months. It's just not going to happen. Don't hype people up. And they probably know that as well. Okay. So consultative selling, you're helping them. And when you go through this process, it really shows them that you're serious. It shows them that you're not trying to hype them up, that you're really putting a plan in place. And so after they tell you how many months, then you say, great. Well, listen, if I could show you how to create that amount of income based on those commitments, are you ready to get started? And it's a trial close. If I could, would you? If I could show you how to do that, would you be willing to get started? Are you ready? And, assuming the answer is yeah, it's usually going to be a yes. Now, after that, what you want to do is you can say, well, listen, based on what you told me, you absolutely can make that happen. And then you can draw it out in the compensation plan. Okay. You're going to have to obviously know a little bit about your compensation plan in order to show them that plan. One of the things that you can do that is you could actually draw out. Well, let's say, if you're only able to commit 1 hour a week, 1 or 2 hours a week, let's say your first month, you go enroll one person. Okay. That one person, second month, you and that other person, no, you go enroll one each. No one does more than one. And you can show them after the course of about 6 months, you've got, a decent number, 64, 128 people on your team. You can show that multiplication effect. Now, I like it when they say, I can commit 3, 4, 5 hours a week. They say that, I'm saying, awesome. Well, if you can commit that, here's what we'll show you is if you can put in, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week, that's showing 4 people over the course of a month. We should be able to enroll at least 4 to 6 people, based on that hours, as long as you're, doing revenue generating activities, actually showing people the business. And that's going to equate to this amount of income. And let's say the next month, everyone enrolls 1 person and you go enroll another 4 people, and you can just draw out the level of income. And so based on what you've told me, we can absolutely get you there. If you'll commit to those hours, like you said you would, I will commit to getting you there. Let's get you plugged in, okay? And I put out my hand and I shake their hand, okay? So again, it's not me trying to hype them up, tell them they're going to make all this money. No, I'm giving them a plan on exactly how to get there. That's one of the best ways to close someone who is very, very analytical. Now, realize, again, you're not going to close everyone. You are going to have to go through a lot of people. No one closes everyone. So go out and just keep showing it until you find the leaders. If you need to read through this again or listen to this again, listen to this several times. You've got the MP3 files. You can load these on your, smartphone and things like that, so you can listen to it a lot. I want you to ingrain this into your mind until these become you. Look forward to seeing you on the next module.